Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8 p.m. on LA56.
While the violence seen at the coast, no one's safe from the huge waves pounding the Southern California coast, even those on shore.
In Malibu, big waves drawing big crowds of surfers, including one of the most famous surfers in the world who ended up rescuing a swimmer in distress.
And new fallout from the deadly Uzi accident involving a 9-year-old girl. Tonight, what we're learning about the killed instructor. Good evening, I'm David Ono.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56. Monstrous surf has been pounding the Southern California coast all day and night. Surfers flock to the wedge in Newport Beach to take advantage of the high surf despite the danger it poses. Eyewitness News reporter Leticia Juarez has more.
Powerful and dangerous waves pounded the shores along Newport Beach, attracting surfers and crowds alike. This morning, spectators watching body surfers at the infamous wedge got a little more than they bargained for. A rogue wave came crashing ashore on top of several people, injuring some onlookers.
Just got taken out by about 10 people.
Red flag conditions have lifeguards warning inexperienced swimmers to stay out of the water.
These are extreme conditions and anybody can get hurt, no matter what your experience level is.
As was the case for this man, who began to struggle and had to be rescued by 2 lifeguards.
Body surfer that got a little tired coming in, and so our guards went in and made a little rescue and helped him in safely to shore.
The enormous swells, the result of Hurricane Marie, just off the coast of California. And while surfers entertained the crowds on shore, it's Mother Nature that clearly stole the show.
We just don't really get swells like this very often, like this close, this much power, and like making it this big.
We only get a swell like this once every 10, 15 years, so it hasn't been this big for a really long time. So the crowd's really enjoying this for sure.
And as you can see, the crowds are still out here being entertained by both the waves and the surfers in the water. Lifeguards warning people that are inexperienced, though, to steer clear and stay on shore where it's safe. Reporting in Newport Beach, Leticia Juarez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Melissa McBride, she's been reporting from Malibu where massive waves made for a dangerous situation for some, but others are having an amazing day.
It's not too often surfers in Malibu get to ride waves this size.
3 feet overhead and perfect shape, and you can get waves from the top all the way to the pier. Large swells from Tropical Storm Marie have brought the bigger-than-normal sets to south-facing beaches and prompted LA County lifeguards to keep a rescue jet ski near the lineup. Lifeguards along the Southern California coast have made hundreds of rescues, but in Malibu, big wave surfer Laird Hamilton helped a surfer get back to shore.
He got pounded by a few waves in a row, and you start getting tired, and the psychology is the biggest part of it. And the first thing you learn is when you come upon somebody like that is to just look at them straight in the eye and say, hey, you're cool, everything's cool, it's okay.
In Ventura, lifeguards pulled this surfer out of the water after he was caught in a rip current.
I'm a pretty good swimmer. I've been surfing all my life. I mean, I've never been caught like this, but I mean, it was a little frightening. He said that he was pretty exhausted. He wasn't going to be able to make it back in on his own. He was in a pretty bad spot.
Back in Malibu, surfers who feel confident they can handle the 10 to 12-foot waves are enjoying the conditions while they last.
I know this wave so well, I still get my share, but it's tough. It's a battle out there on a day like today.
That was Melissa McBride reporting from Malibu. In the meantime, in Seal Beach, a surge during high tide flooded oceanfront homes overnight. Officials are still assessing the damage, but say most of the flooding happened in garage areas. Many people spent the night sandbagging while workers scrambled to build an emergency sand berm to protect property from further flooding. High tide came again late this morning, and the sand berm held, but for many, the damage was already done. And strong waves smashed into Catalina's Avalon Harbor. The powerful surf caused substantial damage to a Catalina Express boatyard overnight, forcing a temporary halt to boat service between the island and Long Beach this morning. 4 miles northwest of Avalon, there was significant damage to the White's Landing Pier, as well as a number of boats that were tossed ashore by the strong waves. It was the second time this summer that White's Landing had suffered damage from a heavy storm surge.
San Pedro, another south-facing beach that was hammered by waves all day, thanks in part to Hurricane Marie. Officials say waves were getting up to 15 feet high, and the surf was even larger near the outer reefs. Lifeguards say they haven't seen surf like that since 1997.
Yeah, that big hurricane was out there churning around. It's died down just a bit. Let's check in with Danny Romero.
All right, thanks very much, David. Calling. Yeah, here's the story. It is a little bit less than it has been, but still, of course, some very dangerous conditions out there. And the reason for it all, still now, Marie, all the way, though, to a tropical storm now. 60-mile-per-hour winds, but still, of course, causing that heavy surge we've been showing and still pushing towards Southern California. So with that in mind, we still have these advisories in place from the North County on down, from Ventura County coastal spots. A high surf advisory is in effect until 6 p.m. Friday night. LA County beaches, same idea, till 6 p.m. Friday night. Now, Orange County, we're going to a little break here. They were in effect until tomorrow night, just after midnight. So call it Friday morning at 1 a.m., this high surf advisory in effect. We're still talking about waves in that 5 to 10 foot range, some of them even more than that. So we are looking at what's causing this, and it's the surf advisory, the surf report that's up for you, give you an idea what's happening tomorrow. Still with that south swell because of that tropical storm. We're showing Malibu 4 to 10 tomorrow, El Porto 4 to 8 feet. Now here's some big waves here. Huntington Beach, 5 to 12 foot sets. San Onofre to 5 to 12 foot sets, with high tide coming 11:25 tomorrow morning. Another high tide is tonight, though, right around 10:52. So expect some very dangerous waves once again. So again, as we said before, if you want to get down to the beach, stay out of the water and just watch nature do its work. It is something to see, that's for sure. Now, another thing nature's doing, changing our weather, heating things up some more. I'll tell you about that with a 7-day in just a little bit. Right now, Colleen, David, go ahead.
All right, see you then. As part of our continuing coverage of the high surf, we are giving you a live stream of our Laguna Beach camera on ABC7.com. You could also join the conversation about this dangerous storm surge on ABC7 Facebook and Twitter pages.
The man suspected of killing 3 people in the San Fernando Valley appeared in court for the first time today. 34-year-old Alexander Hernandez, who police described as a potential serial killer, appeared in court on murder and attempted murder charges stemming from separate shootings in the Pacoima and West Hollywood areas. Hernandez had his arraignment postponed until September 17th. So far, he has not been charged in connection with 3 killings that happened within an hour of each other Sunday morning in the San Fernando Valley, although police believe he is the culprit and they expect additional charges to be filed against him.
3 men facing attempted murder charges in connection with a shooting of a San Bernardino police officer. They faced a judge today, and Jonathan Contreras, Orlando Cruz, and Gonzalo Medina each pled not guilty. Prosecutors say the 3 were with alleged gunman Alex Alvarado when he shot Officer Gabriel Garcia Friday. Alvarado was shot and killed by police. Garcia remains in a medically induced coma. The 3 men could be charged with murder if Garcia dies.
Authorities in Arizona say a 9-year-old girl being trained to shoot a machine gun accidentally killed her instructor. Today, we're hearing from the operator of the shooting range and learning more about the instructor who died. Here's ABC's Marcy Gonzalez.
This video showing a 9-year-old girl learning to fire an automatic Uzi taken just moments before this lesson turned deadly.
All right, go ahead and give me 1 shot.
Soon after, investigators say the gun kicked back over her head and a bullet accidentally hit her instructor, Charlie Vaca, killing him.
Like I said, it's like losing a brother. These aren't employees or associates of ours. These are family. We're all family.
It happened Monday while the girl from New Jersey was vacationing at this outdoor shooting range near Las Vegas. Her parents reportedly right there when the accident happened.
It's really been breaking a lot of people's hearts.
The gun range operator explains instructors are trained to block guns from recoiling into the air, especially when training children, adding that although this girl is only 9 years old, she was old enough to fire the powerful weapon.
Well, a 9-year-old gets an Uzi in her hand when they're within the criteria is 8 years old to shoot firearms. We instruct kids as young as 5 and 22 rifles, and they don't get to handle high firearms, but they're under the supervision of their parents and of our professional range masters.
And we're told that 39-year-old instructor had more than a dozen years of military experience and was enlisted in the Army Reserve. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, New York.
Both Israel and Hamas are declaring victory in the war in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on national television today that Hamas was hit hard during 7 weeks of fighting. Hamas leaders gave their own victory speech in Gaza City. Both sides agreed to an open-ended truce yesterday, and it's still holding. Another round of peace talks are scheduled for next month in Cairo. More than 2,200 people have been killed since the war began. And while one family celebrates the return of their son, another family makes a desperate plea to ISIS to save their son. ABC's Brian Ross reports on the latest efforts to save U.S. citizens and how they have stepped up recruitment in the States.
I am Shirley Sotloff. My son Stephen is in your hands.
The mother's emotional plea came 8 days after ISIS said it would execute her 31-year-old journalist son, seen in the same video release that showed the execution of James Foley.
I want what every mother wants, to live to see her children's children.
Shirley Sotloff directed her plea personally to the ISIS leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, a brutal megalomaniac who claims he is the caliph, the prince of the Muslim world, and that is how she addressed it.
I've always learned that you, the caliph, can grant amnesty. I ask you to please release my child.
For another American mother today, anguish turned to joy as her son, journalist Peter Theo Curtis, returned home to Cambridge, Massachusetts, after being held for 2 years by a different jihadist group in Syria.
I had no idea that so much effort was being expended on my behalf. And now, having found out, I am just overwhelmed with emotion.
As much as the American hostages have focused attention on the Syrian terror groups, it is the American recruits who have joined them that most worry authorities. Today, new details emerged about the background of this American jihadist, Douglas McCain, killed fighting for ISIS in Syria over the weekend. It turns out McCain's high school in suburban Minneapolis, the Robbinsdale Cooper School, brought together at least 2 Midwestern boys who went on to become terrorists. This family photo shows McCain on the left, and on the right, his high school classmate and friend Troy Castigar, who later died fighting for the Al-Qaeda group in Somalia.
This is a real Disneyland. There was sure no indication while they were students of ours that they would turn to violence.
And could there be a third jihadist from the Minneapolis high school? This video of a Syrian militant shows the gunman wearing a sweatshirt that says Cooper Hawks, the distinct lettering of the Cooper High School athletic mascot, the Hawks. As Steve Sotloff's mother awaits word of the fate of her son, the U.S. on Wednesday carried out 3 more airstrikes against ISIS, in clear defiance of the ISIS demands that the bombing stop or that Sotloff die. Brian Ross, ABC News, New York.
Up next here at 8, Josh Shaw comes clean, what the USC football star is admitting about his injury and how the school is reacting tonight.
Plus, a local crew member for the show Cops is killed on the job, but it wasn't by any suspect. The tragic twist coming up.
And the 13-year-old boy who nearly lost his life in the Napa earthquake is telling his remarkable survival story for the first time.
USC cornerback Josh Shaw has admitted that he lied to school officials about how he sprained his ankles. Originally, Shaw said that he injured himself jumping off a balcony to save his drowning nephew last weekend, but today he admitted that was a lie. The LAPD released a report saying officers responded to a woman screaming at an apartment complex. Officers went into the complex where Shaw's girlfriend lives and saw an open back window. Witnesses described seeing a man matching the description of Shaw leaving the balcony. And today on campus, students responded to the news.
I was just really surprised because it was such a unique story, so I wouldn't think he would have made that up. So, yeah, kind of just surprised.
He shouldn't have lied about it, but he's a captain here. We should stand by him as a school, and I think he's going to come back from it and represent USC the way he should have.
Shaw has been suspended indefinitely from all team activities. Tonight, his attorney tells Eyewitness News that Shaw did nothing criminal. The LAPD is investigating.
A crew member with the TV show Cops was shot and killed by police while working on the show. 38-year-old Bryce Dion was a soundman on the crew working with Omaha, Nebraska police. They responded to a report of an armed robbery at Wendy's. The robber had what appeared to be a handgun, though it turned out to be capable of shooting plastic pellets only. Police opened fire, hitting and killing both the robber and Dion.
On behalf of the men and women of the Omaha Police Department, I want to offer my sincere condolences to the family, friends, and co-workers of Mr. Bryce Dion.
The chief says he believes the 3 officers involved acted properly. They have been put on leave while the shooting is investigated. Another Cops crew member got video of at least part of the incident, but police are not releasing it.
A 13-year-old boy injured in that magnitude 6 earthquake in Napa says he's surprised he's still alive. From his hospital bed, Nicholas Dillon is speaking out for the first time. He was asleep in the living room when the quake caused a fireplace to crumble on top of him, shattering his pelvis.
I started crawling to get to the door, and just as I put my right knee on the floor, the chimney collapsed on my back. And if I hadn't moved, all those bricks would have collapsed on my face.
At first, Nicholas couldn't feel his legs, but after 10 hours of surgery, he's now in fair condition and expected to walk again. And elsewhere in Napa, there are more signs of recovery. Many wineries are opening their doors to customers again, and students in the area returned to class today for the first time since the quake.
Wow, well, let's switch gears and talk about our weather. You're talking about warmer weather again?
Yeah, another hot day, but this little heat wave is just a ripple. Just a couple of days of heat, and then we go back to a very mild holiday weekend. Let's go outside, take a look how things are looking at the moment. For our Wednesday night, we swing our camera live to LAX, and LAX, pretty clear tonight. We'll stay that way again tomorrow night as well. Then things start to change. That marine layer makes its return back into play to change our weather once again. Downtown skies are clear and pretty nice here on a Wednesday. 78 degrees, still a pretty warm summer night. Just a breeze of 6 miles per hour. We're looking at humidity at 39% and a barometer on the rise at 29.96. Temperature-wise today, well, another hot one over the Southland. 85, the average temperature this date. Got up to 91 this afternoon. Watch for a sunrise tomorrow at 6:24. And another hot day comes our way thanks to this ridge of high pressure. Watch how truly clear things are cleared out of our area. Now, of course, there's marine now, tropical storms still working and causing us all that wave action around our south-facing beaches especially. But what's going to dominate our weather the next couple of days will be this ridge of high pressure with the high in place. Everything swings offshore now. That circulation is clockwise around the high, so it pushes all that cool air that might come on shore and drop our temperatures down, pushes it offshore a lot earlier in the day, so our inland spots especially start to heat up earlier. And those coastal spots clear out quicker. See some heat on the beach areas as well. So again, with the waves really strong, you want to get down to the beach, but if you do, stay out of the water. Just watch it and enjoy the view. Here's our numbers tonight. 67 for a low in Encino, 64 in Lancaster, 66 in Palmdale. A pretty nice mild summer night. Then tomorrow, hot again, Colleen. Like we said, triple digits there for the high desert. Santa Clarita gets to 102 tomorrow. Look at those beach numbers, though. 80 at Redondo Beach, at Huntington Beach, so a nice beach day again. And still pretty hot through the IE. Triple digits all the way from San Bernardino to Lake Elsinore. Here's the 7-day Power Back AccuWeather and giving you a hot and sunny Thursday tomorrow. Now watch, though. Marine layer comes back into play by Friday and through the holiday weekend. We see temperatures drop down from that 91 tomorrow down to as low as 81 by next Tuesday and Wednesday. Valley spots will be hot tomorrow, certainly, triple digits. Still pretty hot on Friday. Then it starts to change. 95 for Saturday. Low 90s by Sunday, and then by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, to 89. Again, mild but not blazing hot. Mountain spots will be gorgeous all weekend for the holiday weekend. Warm to the 80s for Friday and Saturday, and then dropping back down to the mid-70s by Monday and Tuesday. The holiday ends there, and Tuesday, Wednesday, we go to 74 for the highs. The high desert will be, of course, hot because it's the desert. Triple digits Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. As we head towards Sunday and the holiday, we see temperatures for the high desert a little less than normal, so we're going to call it hot, just pretty warm. 90s, 94, 93 by Tuesday and Wednesday, and then with those winds gusting up again as the desert often does in the summertime. So the heat for another day or two, David and Colleen, and then holiday looks pretty good. Back to you.
All right, Dennis, that's good.
Yeah.
Thanks. Today, a major move to keep cameras rolling here in California. Governor Jerry Brown and legislative leaders struck a deal to improve the state's film and television tax credit program. It increases the tax credit to $330 million a year for 5 years beginning in the 2015-2016 fiscal year. The new tax credit program also eliminates the lottery system. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti talked to film crew workers today at Disney in Burbank, and he applauded the governor and legislature, saying that the film industry is vital to our economy and our identity.
They understand, that this is where the industry was born, this is where the industry grew, and this is where the industry needs to remain. We've always had a smart tax credit that actually nets us more than it takes away. It just was capped at $100 million.
Garcetti says the legislation will create 80 to 100,000 new jobs for Californians over the next 5 years. Last year, 21 of 23 new primetime series were filmed outside of California.
Up next, a big break in the search for a local arsonist. Investigators make an arrest after this surveillance video was released. Details just ahead.
And much more in our wild surf when Eyewitness News returns.
A woman is now behind bars in connection with a series of arsons in El Segundo. Surveillance video captured a woman setting fire to patio furniture. After releasing the video, police say they got several good tips from the public. Police have identified the suspect as 63-year-old Barbara Nanya. A patrol officer spotted her yesterday morning. Investigators believe she's also the one who set fires inside St. Andrew's Catholic Church and St. Michael's Church. Nanya is being held on $350,000 bail.
Some tense moments at the Colorado State Fair after a man's harness broke during a ride, and the incident was caught on video.
Oh! Oh my God! Dude, get the camera!
No. Dude, get my camera?
Okay.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, I think so.
The man and his sister were riding the Skyfire when the harness holding her brother snapped open. She says he tore the muscle in his shoulder trying to keep himself in his seat. Fair officials say the man was never in any real danger because if one part fails, there are other measures in place to protect riders from serious accident. But he hurt himself.
He hurt himself, and he was probably terrified. Poor sister.
Well, he handled it well.
Yeah,
he's
certainly.
kind of laughing about it, I think.
Well, we are updating the evening's top stories next at 8:30.
Including our dangerous surf stretching from Orange County to Ventura and beyond.
Plus, who would plant sharp blades all over a local playground? The latest on the investigation.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8:30 p.m. on LA56.
Our top story at 8:30, the high surf and massive waves crashing all over Southern California. I'm Colleen Sullivan.
And I'm David Donut. This is Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. In Seal Beach, a surge during high tide flooded oceanfront homes overnight. And in Malibu, one legendary surfer not only caught some of those giant waves. He also helped save a swimmer in trouble.
Another surfer, and then I swam out with my fins, and we pushed the guy in. And I mean, he was okay because he was still strong enough to swim well, but you know, it was one of those ones where it could have easily gone bad.
And in Catalina, several piers on the south side of the island took a beating, sustaining serious damage. Boats were overturned, several kayakers had to be rescued, and the Catalina Express even had to cut back passenger service. In Ventura, conditions were especially dangerous, and Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallworth spoke with a surfer who was lucky to escape with his life today.
What kind of swells are we looking at the highest?
There were some out there that were easily like 10 feet.
Christian Seiko says he hasn't seen swells so big in nearly a decade. This morning, he feared he was going to drown after being tossed around like a rag doll in the violent surf.
I just got caught in the current and just pulled me through the pier. I tried. I was doing my best out there, and all of a sudden I got sucked in.
People on the pier noticed Christian was in trouble and flagged down lifeguards who sprinted into action. One lifeguard even raced past our news camera and dove into the ocean from the pier.
You know, I'm a pretty good swimmer. I've been surfing all my life. I mean, I've never been caught like this, but I mean, it was a little frightening. And luckily these guys, these heroes over here pulled me out.
Lifeguard Taylor Garrett rescued Christian.
He said that he was pretty exhausted. He wasn't going to be able to make it back in on his own. He was in a pretty bad spot at the time, for sure, because he was a couple hundred yards out.
Garrett says he calmed Christian down and told him to paddle south out of the path of the strong current, and both made it to shore.
He was calm, cool, and collected the whole time, and it worked out for the best.
You know, respect the ocean. Just be careful out there.
Christian felt that if you guys hadn't gone out and gotten him, he doesn't know what would have happened.
I'd rather not think about that.
Lifeguards say the tragic death of a fellow lifeguard who rescued a swimmer in Newport Beach last month shows that even they are not safe when the ocean is dangerous. They are warning people to stay out of the water in Ventura for the next several days.
Malibu's already taken a beating, and we're bracing ourselves for a beating tomorrow.
Leo Stallworth, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
So use that free ABC7 Mega Doppler weather app to get the latest information about the impact of Tropical Storm Marie, and download it from the iTunes App Store or Google Play. Search Mega Doppler.
A warning going out to parents after sharp blades are found at a children's playground. Park employees found the sharp items at a community park in Oro Grande. Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan has the latest on the investigation.
Oro Grande Park was fairly quiet this afternoon, perhaps because it's a school day. But it could also be empty because of what was discovered here just yesterday. Several sharp objects, including the blades used in box cutters, intentionally placed on the children's playground equipment.
It's awful. That is criminal.
Why would you do something like that to kids that are innocent?
It makes you think, who does something like that, you know?
Yeah, they're little kids.
Antonio Figueroa was out here with his 2-year-old niece, Ariana, today. But he says he'll think twice about letting her go on the slides after what happened.
Now check the slides before they go down, look around and stuff.
The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department says it was a park maintenance worker who found the blades and then called the Sheriff's Department right away.
Very lucky, yes. No one was hurt.
Sheriff spokesperson Stacy Parks wants to be clear, the way these blades were placed, it was no accident.
They had put the razor blades sticking up in the areas of the slides, so if the child slid down, they would cut themselves very badly. Also, the fork was placed at the bottom of one of the swing sets. Anybody that would would purposely plant something in a park that would injure children, we really need to find who these suspects are.
I grew up in Detroit, and a lot of criminal activity with razor blades at Halloween candy, so, you know, having this it's very sad.
Again, fortunately, no one was injured in all of this. If you know who's responsible, you're asked to call the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department at 760-552-6800. In Oro Grande, Rob McMillan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A Texas jury has acquitted a father charged with murdering a drunken driver who killed his 2 sons. A jury acquitted David Barajas, who broke into tears as the verdict was read. Barajas was accused of fatally shooting Jose Banda in a fit of rage. Minutes after Banda hit a truck Barajas and his son were pushing near their home. The defense denied Barajas killed Banda and suggested his cousin or half-brother were the shooters. They witnessed the crash as well, and they fled the scene. A gun was never found, and gunshot residue tests on Barajas came back negative.
The state Senate has approved a bill allowing temporary restraining orders to take firearms away from people who are showing signs of dangerous behavior. It was motivated by the Isla Vista shooting rampage 3 months ago that left 6 people dead. The parents of the gunman, 22-year-old Elliot Roger, said they had warned police, but there was no basis for taking away his weapons. Today, supporters of the bill, including parents of Isla Vista victims, urged final passage.
They did not have a legal standing to take action, and I viewed that as a fundamental flaw.
Nothing we can do can bring Veronica and the other victims back, but my hope is by working to pass AB 1014, other lives can be spared.
The bill now goes back to the Assembly for final modifications. Republicans oppose the measure, saying they do not want to restrict gun rights of law-abiding citizens.
Immigration authorities must now ensure that Mexicans living in the country illegally are told of their right to a hearing before a judge. It is a chance to practice for ICE, a change in practice for ICE and the Border Patrol following a settlement of a class action lawsuit. That suit was filed by the ACLU on behalf of 9 Mexican nationals and 3 organizations. It alleges ICE and Border Patrol agents routinely told Mexican immigrants they could face months in jail while their cases are decided. It also claims immigrants were falsely informed that they can easily arrange legal status once they're back in Mexico. Immigration authorities would offer voluntary departures which prohibit immigrants from re-entering the U.S. for up to 10 years.
Even if only a small fraction of them can qualify for relief, the settlement could benefit thousands of people and their families. It's not every day that a wrong of this magnitude can be corrected and families reunited.
ICE says agents use voluntary departures as an option for those who ask to be returned in lieu of formal removal proceedings, but they say in no case is coercion or deception tolerated.
Glendale Adventist Medical Center has agreed to pay nearly $750,000 for patient dumping on Skid Row. The agreement with the city of Los Angeles stems from an incident in June where a homeless patient was discharged to Skid Row. LA City Attorney Mike Feuer announced a settlement. Glenville Adventist does not concede any wrongdoing. And a couple is suing the owner of a national food chain, accusing it of discrimination. They claim the company denied them spousal health insurance because they are the same sex. Eyewitness News reporter Miriam Hernandez has more.
In their lawsuit, same-sex couple Frank and Carl take on a multi-billion-dollar business.
The 1-2. Martinez shoots it out toward right center field.
Illich Holdings owns sports teams, the Detroit Tigers and Detroit Red Wings, as well as entertainment operations and the pizza chain Little Caesars. Frank Bernard says that he was hired as a restaurant manager, entitling him and his spouse to medical insurance. But no medical card ever came for Carl.
Upon calling Little Caesars Human Resources Department, I was told in no uncertain terms that Little Caesars does not provide benefits to same-sex spouses. I was absolutely shocked.
But don't just take his word for it. Attorney Gloria Allred shows us a letter where Little Caesars spells out its policy. Benefits only for someone who is the opposite gender.
This is now, I think, beyond dispute in terms of the facts. It's really going to be a question of the law.
We called the Michigan headquarters of Illich Holdings, its legal department, and its communications office. We have received no response. About the law, the Supreme Court in its DOMA decision last year does not require employers to provide health coverage to same-sex spouses. However, in states where same-sex marriage is legal, such as California, employers must provide equal benefits to legally married couples.
We are acting as private attorney generals to enforce this law, the state law, against discrimination.
One of the questions raised by this case is whether there are any other businesses that employ a similar practice.
It would be far less costly for them to provide these benefits than to have to be in a battle in a lawsuit.
Frank Bernard, meantime, has found a management job with a different restaurant chain, one that provides medical coverage for his husband, Carl. Miriam Hernandez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A military training exercise goes terribly wrong when a paratrooper's parachute gets caught. The amazing video next.
Plus a bus driver passing out behind the wheel. What it was seen doing moments before.
Pet food recalls have made many owners changing the way they feed their dogs, but their approach may not be the right one. We're going to tell you what you need to know coming up next.
She is big and powerful, but a lot stronger earlier. Marie's still causing problems. I'll tell you about that and a change in the heat coming up in just a bit.
An Australian bus driver passes out at the wheel and crashes the massive vehicle. The incident was captured on video, but the camera also caught what happened moments earlier when the bus driver lit up a pipe and allegedly smoked synthetic marijuana. The 57-year-old wiped out 2 fences before careening into a family home, narrowly missing a woman and her daughter. Luckily, no passengers were on the bus at the time. The bus driver pled guilty to reckless driving and driving under the influence of illegal drugs.
A Mexican military training exercise goes wrong 3,000 feet up in the air. Troops were jumping out of a plane when one paratrooper's chute got caught. You can see the parachute trooper whipping around in the wind. His chute caught on the plane. The soldier dangles helplessly, then starts to spin out of control. Eventually, he was rescued and treated. No word on the extent of his injuries. Plenty of dogs do not like going to the groomer. One dog did something about it. He caused his owner to crash her car. The North Carolina woman was driving him to the groomer when they got close, and he freaked out, jumped out of the car seat, and got on the floorboard trying to hide. The woman tried to hit the brake but couldn't with the dog under her feet and smashed right into the groomers. No one was hurt, although the car and the building both needed some work, and the dog got out of the grooming, at least for that one day.
Wow. Well, concerns over dog food recalls are making many pet owners change the way they feed their four-legged friends. But new canine cuisine trends may not be what the veterinarian ordered. Is it okay to feed your puppy human food regularly? Health specialist Denise Dora tells us what experts say about mixing it up.
It's broccoli minus the crowns, but my rescue dog Chip seems to like it. A simple treat compared to what many dog owners prepare for their pets. Dog lover Allison Lynch likes to concoct customized home-cooked meals.
Baking, boiling, broiling, washing, and all the above.
But now a growing number of products available online and on store shelves are designed to let pet parents customize doggy meals without all the preparation, similar to mix-it-up meals you find in your grocery store.
I was thrilled to find out that what I would make at home for my dogs, I could find in the pet store.
You just add water, your pooch's favorite meat, or even the vegetables of your choice. The American Pet Products Association says these products are the result of the popularity of home cooking for dogs in the wake of pet food recalls.
Dogs have different nutrient requirements that we as people do. So just cooking for your dog the same way as you cook for yourself wasn't necessarily the way to do it, but they were still looking to mix themselves.
Labels tout all natural ingredients, gluten-free, and even that they're human grade. But veterinarians remind us our furry friends aren't humans. Some of the meals include raw meat. The FDA cautions against raw diets for dogs, since raw meat is more likely to be contaminated with microorganisms that can lead to illness. Vets also caution against including too much protein in a pooch's diet.
You need to be very careful about jumping on the latest trend.
I'm not sure what veterinarians would say about broccoli, but if you're planning to change your dog's diet, talk to your vet. Allison says these days, mealtime is a party.
They are much more excited about every meal.
For owners who choose to provide raw food to their dogs, experts recommend these safety tips. Always wash your hands before or after touching any raw food. Disinfect the preparation area and discard any food your dog doesn't eat. In the newsroom, Denise Tudor, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
We are getting a sneak peek at Walking with Dinosaurs, an exhibit opening soon. 2 dinosaurs met up today at the Natural History Museum in Exposition Park in front of a crowd of children. This is a preview of the Walking with Dinosaurs theatrical production. The full production will feature 20 life-size dinosaurs at the Honda Center and Staples Center in the next 2 weeks. The kids said it was scary, but awesome.
How cool.
I think my little boy, we'll be going there.
I was obsessed with dinosaurs when I was a kid. I would have loved this.
It's so lifelike.
Yeah,
it's
totally. I mean, it looks real. That's cool. All right, dangerous surf and soaring temperatures. What's next for our wild weather? Danny Romero, complete forecast is coming up next.
And new Clippers owner Steve Ballmer gives head coach Doc Rivers a promotion and raise. The details ahead in sports. Amazing. Well, it looks like nobody is safe from the high surf, not even spectators at the Wedge in Newport Beach. Despite the danger, surfers and bodyboarders alike flocked to the area to take advantage of the monster waves. Officials say waves were ranging from 10 to 20 feet. Inexperienced swimmers are being advised to stay out of the ocean.
Hear about it.
And I almost got thrown against the staircases over here in front of the houses. And then I just saw this patch of sand over here and it saved my life.
And in Malibu, experienced surfers were speaking out about today's huge waves battering our local coastline.
Classic California surfer right there.
Yeah, right?
Having a good time out there.
Absolutely, man.
But you know what the shame is, Danny, is you can't get in the water, but a day like today, it's heating up, and you want to get in the water.
Right, because you want to at least be at the beach where it's a little bit cooler, but yeah, the sunshine baking on you there. But at least for now, while that surf is very, very strong, as we say, stay back. And apparently, especially in that video we showed, just stay way back from the water. Enjoy the view. Here's our Laguna Beach camera. Our live look outside shows the Orange County Beach area looking pretty good here on a Wednesday night. Not bad at all. We look around through downtown LA. Skies are clear there as well. A gorgeous night settling in. It's summer. 78 degrees right now in the 8 o'clock hour. A breeze of 6 miles per hour. Relative humidity at 39%. And all because of this ridge of high pressure that's really built up quite strongly and will stay with us now through tomorrow, into Thursday, and even into Friday. Start to break down right about the weekend. The holiday weekend sets up. So as long as that high is in place, we're going to go with that offshore flow, and that means much warmer temperatures. You see, because all that cool ocean air wants to push onshore, but as this high pressure ridge builds up, it pushes everything away a lot quicker in the daytime, so those inland spots heat up a lot sooner, and the beach areas, whatever morning clouds you might have, are pushed out pretty early in the day, so the beaches also will warm up quite nicely over the next couple of days and take us into the holiday weekend with some warm temps. But when that breaks down right about Saturday and Sunday, we're going to see temperatures drop back down to normal and below in some spots as that marine layer starts to do its work. Here's numbers tonight. Down to 58 at Wrightwood, to 68 at Malibu, 64 in Lancaster, 64 in Fillmore as well. Tomorrow, I expect the heat to be back once again, especially inland, where we're showing triple digits in Santa Clarita and Northridge. And look at Malibu at 80 degrees tomorrow. Encino, 96. Same for Pasadena. 78 at Dana Point tomorrow. And triple digits through San Bernardino, Beaumont, and Riverside as well. So the heat certainly inland. Beaches, relief from the heat, but stay out of the water. Let's look ahead now. 7-day Power Back Weather giving you a look at a sunny, hot Thursday. And then here comes that marine layer moving in. So by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we drop temperatures down to below normal numbers at 84. And on the holiday Monday, 83 downtown to 81 by Tuesday and Wednesday. Here's our valleys, and that's going to be a hot one again tomorrow and into the weekend. Friday is still pretty hot and sunny, and into Saturday as well, mid-90s. And then we feel that things start to cool down just a little bit. We go down to low 90s and stay there through Monday and Tuesday, and by Wednesday, actually, an average high inland of only 89. That's pretty mild for summertime. Mountains will show you fair skies, sunny and warm weekend with the temps pushing up in the 80s for the holiday weekend to start, and by the end of it, at 75, nice mild mountain temps into Tuesday and Wednesday to 74 for the afternoon numbers. Our look at the high desert shows a hot, windy, dry few days ahead of us and triple digits all the way through into Saturday. A little drop off on Sunday, more so by the holiday at 94, 93s for Tuesday and Wednesday. So a couple of days more of heat just in time for the holiday. A little break in that heat. David and Colleen, go ahead.
Thank you, Danny. New Clipper owner Steve Ballmer said it was a priority to make Doc Rivers a long-term leader of his team, and Ballmer is true to his word. Doc Rivers will now be the team's head coach and president of basketball operations, and this deal is worth $10 million a year for the next 5 seasons. Rivers was making 7 in his first year with the team. Doc guided the Clippers to the best record in franchise history, 57-25, and a second straight Pacific Division title. In Chicago, thousands of people cheered on the U.S. Little League champions from the Jackie Robinson West baseball program in the Windy City. Later, they held a rally for the team that was so impressive in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The White Sox honored the youngsters from the South Side with Sox jerseys autographed by all the players. And in Philadelphia today, star pitcher Monet Davis and her Tenny Dragon teammates also got a parade. The team's manager said that he was thrilled by all the support for the team. Davis became the first female pitcher to win a game in World Series history. And I think she should give some pitching tips to the fans who threw out the first pitch at the Astros game last night. Probably not the absolute worst ceremonial first pitch ever, but it's got to be pretty close, way up there. At least she's not pitching for the Astros, because if she was, Houston would certainly have a problem. Well, she's cute, and she laughed at it.
Yeah.
Yesterday, there was a bee problem at the U.S. Open. Today, it was a hairy situation. Caroline Wozniacki taking on Alexandra Sasnovich in the second round, and Wozniacki returns it, but the handle of her racket gets tangled in her hair, and watch as he tries to hit the ball while her racket is still caught up in her hair. Despite the hairy mess, Wozniacki easily advanced to the next round in straight sets.
I wonder if she was going to trim her hair or do it some
Never
way
seen that happen before.
No, my goodness, yeah. Well, more news straight ahead here at 8:30, and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on KABC. A violent confrontation caught on camera. Why police want you to see this brawl on the Venice boardwalk. Plus, a vacation flight to a tropical paradise suddenly becomes a mid-air emergency. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on KABC. Getting kids to do their best in school, that's the goal of MEN, which stands for Meet Each Need with Dignity. The 241 students from Van Nuys Elementary School that included new shoes, dental screenings, vision screenings, and new backpacks stuffed with back-to-school supplies. This was the 13th annual head-to-toes event at MEN in Pacoima.
2 penguin chicks are making their public debut at the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach. 4 chicks were born there this summer. 2 of them went on exhibit today. The public will also have a chance to help name a chick through the aquarium's Adopt an Animal program. The penguins are native to Argentina and Chile. They prefer a more temperate climate, which is why they are suited well for Southern California. The other 2 chicks should be available for viewing later on this year. So they're going to like the weather here. So I always am concerned about that when it comes to penguins,
No
because
kidding.
they need to be in cold climate. But these guys they're going to love it here.
You assume, yes. Well, I think they are. I think they got a good home.
We got to think of a name for them now too at the aquarium.
That one is
Pacific.
so cute. That one's darling, just looking around. Hello. I don't know. I'm not good with names. You're probably much better.
I'll have to think about it.
All right. Well, that's our report for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for our Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is next on LA56.
Have a good night.